The turn of a new year. A fresh start and clean slate for everyone around the globe to prove that this year is when things finally change for the better. This is the year that they finally lose some weight. This is the year that they earn that promotion. This is the year where they turn their life around. And for the rest of us shitheads, this is going to be the year we finish those games we've never played, right? Yeah, I didn't think so either. You see, every gamer has a little something we like to call
the Backlog.
This mysterious and sometimes horrifying entity is a collection of all the games we may have purchased or even briefly played but never finished. Or if you're me, it's where you like to show off your history of horrible financial decisions. I own Knack. Sometimes it feels like my backlog has become a personality trait at this point, and I'm too far gone to turn back. You know, for all the love I claim I have for the Soulsborne games, I still haven't beaten Sekiro, and I've owned it since day one. I'm already ashamed, you don't need to rub it in. Or take the Disgaea series, for example. This is a franchise I've had my eye on for the better part of 6 years. I own 3 of the games on 3 different systems, and haven't played more than an hour of any of them. Or Borderlands, even. I love shooters, I love RPGs, I love RPG elements, I love shooters with RPG elements, so you'd think Borderlands would be a match made in heaven for me. But, not really feeling it. All jokes aside, I have been trying to make an effort to clear some of these games out and actually finish them recently, so that's why I want to go over some of the key games on my to-do list and what I'd like to finish in the year. Plus, this is about as close as you're gonna get to a New Year's resolution from me. With that being said, let's start with what I've been working through right now. Mega Man. A lot of Mega Man. Capcom's Blue Bomber has always appealed to me, even as a kid. From the gameplay to the art and music, everything seems to have stood the test of time, but I could just never bring myself to finish any of them until now, if I'm being honest. I have 4 Mega Man quote-unquote games in total, 3 of them being collections. The original Anniversary Collection, Mega Man 11, the X Collection, and the Zero and ZX Collection. If you count them all individually, that's a whopping 25 Mega Man games. And I'm still missing Mega Man 9 and 10. Despite the horrifying number of entries, you can realistically knock out one of these bad boys a day if you're persistent, and I'm excited to see what the franchise has to offer. I'm currently on the last game of the Zero and ZX collection, and I'm loving every minute of it. Next up on the chopping block of Broken Promises is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I'm a massive Xenoblade fan, or so I tell myself. I've beaten Xenoblade Chronicles 2 multiple times, and I just finished X this past year, and it really was just a matter of time till I got to the first game. I've actually owned the original digitally on the Wii U for nearly 5 years now, but it was just so rough on the eyes and outdated that I was biding my time until a remake finally released, and I'm glad I did, because from what I've seen, this looks absolutely phenomenal. Not that I would know personally. But speaking of JRPGs, let's rapid fire some of these. I think I may have a problem. No, I don't need you to remind me. You see, the best part of JRPGs is also the worst part. They're just so damn long, especially if you want to tackle a lot of the side content or post-game, but with all of that in mind, I've decided to make a sort of tier list of which games I want to beat first before moving on to the next one. At the very top of the list, I have the previously mentioned Xenoblade Chronicles, next being Tales of Berseria. My relationship with the Tales series is rather interesting. I own Symphonia, Zestiria, and Berseria. I've played 99% of Zestiria, but never ended up beating it due to being underleveled at the final boss, and honestly, I just could not be bothered to go back and try and grind it up. With Symphonia, I ended up buying that back in early high school, played it for 5 minutes, said I would play it later, never went back. And Berseria I just picked up last month on sale. So I'm going to try and knock out Berseria first, and then try Symphonia. Third on our list is actually a trio of games, Final Fantasy 6, 7, and 9, respectively. I feel really guilty about not having beaten 7 by now. I've owned it for roughly 5 years and started it multiple times on different saves, but just never stuck with it. I almost feel worse about 6 though, because I even ordered a special reproduction cartridge of the game last year, and I believe this is a translated copy of the Japanese version. I vaguely remember researching the game and seeing that there were some gameplay differences between the two, so I decided to snag it. And hey, even if there weren't any differences, this cartridge in case is gorgeous, but besides that, I know I'd love the game. You know, I know it's great, I know I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm really not spoiled on much of anything at all. I'm just lazy. after I hopefully complete those games, it'll really just come down to what I'm feeling that day for the next ones I tackle. Final Fantasy Tactics would be nice, or Disgaea 5. On the Western RPG front, I'd like to do another playthrough of Morrowind and finally start Oblivion, but with these games, I want to heavily mod them, and I'll have to plan all of that out. Another big one I want to finally play and finish is The Witcher 3, but this might be the most daunting game in my entire backlog. You see, when I finally get around to playing The Witcher, I want to put almost all of my time into experiencing everything that the game has to offer. And to do that, it almost feels like I have to have my whole life together first.
Welcome to the Witcher 3 application process. If you wish to play our game, you have to prove that you are dedicated enough to do so. That being said, tell us about yourself.
Well, you see,
Do you have a master's degree?
No, I have an
Did
associate's.
you attend Harvard?
I went to community college.
Are you married?
No, why do I need to be married?
Where do you work?
I'm looking for a job right now, but I'm currently
How
unemployed.
do you plan to retire?
I'm 22,
Get the fuck out of my office.
But you know what? I think the most valuable games I want to complete this year will be a lot of the shorter games on my list. You know the type, indie games or classic platformers and what have you. I recently got a copy of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and I think I'll have a lot of fun with that. I've never played Sunshine before, and I've only played Galaxy like once when I was, maybe 9? And I'm just really looking forward to it. Everything else on my to-do list is mostly just housekeeping and games I already play, on the more service or MMO side. I have a lot of things I would like to do in Destiny or Monster Hunter World, for example, or Final Fantasy XIV, things to grind out and farm for the simple satisfaction of having done it. And, that's the funny thing about backlogs, really. As long as games are continually developed, the backlog will never truly end. You will always have something that you want to accomplish. But if that's true, I can always wait until next year, right?